8 years and four World T20s is what it has taken for India to get back into the top four of the World T20 once again. That has happened today. India have beaten Ireland, qualified for the semi-finals. This is Breaking Boundaries, brought to you by Women's Cricket Zone. I'm Snehal Pradhan, former India cricketer. With me is Karunya Keshav, author of the book The Fire Burns Blue, The History of Women's Cricket. And we're talking about something that could be very important from the point of view of not just what has happened before, but what will happen ahead. India back into the top four, an emphatic statement, a confirmation of talent, and the ability to apply it after the 2017 World Cup.
I think India would be very happy with how they've gone about their business in this tournament. It hasn't been spectacular performances, of course, keeping aside Harmanpreet's 100.
Yeah.
But a team as a whole, it hasn't been absolutely spectacular, but they have been clinical and they've been very effective. Their bowlers have done the job for them when they needed to. The captains changed around their bowlers enough. Today we saw herself come on. She bowled Jemima Rodriguez as well, which is not something she's done. So they have shown an ability to switch things up.
And I think the change we have seen has come in since the new coach has come in. Ramesh Pawar, Smriti Mandana in her press conference mentioned his name multiple times as to how he's asking the players to dominate matches rather than just participate in them. And who would have thought that things would turn around like this 6 months ago or less than 6 months ago when India lost the final of the Asia Cup, losing twice to Bangladesh. So a terrific turnaround from India, clinical performance against Ireland, slightly low intensity you might say, but then the conditions were slightly difficult to bat in, and therefore I think the batters adjusted their tempo accordingly. Mithali Raj with a second consecutive 50, making a statement at the top of the order again. The other game, of course, was New Zealand and Pakistan. Pakistan lost, are out of the tournament. New Zealand have a consolation win, but I think the talking point was how Pakistan's batting has been developing over the last year.
That's been really impressive to see. It's one of the things that we've talked about, how a lot of teams have sort of stepped behind, but Pakistan are definitely one of those teams that have made considerable progress in the past few months, especially after the World Cup. I think Javeria Khan is probably leading the way. Bisma Maroof also, they've been lucky to have her come back in and get the runs. So even though they haven't got the wins and caused these upsets that they might have liked, they have made news in some small ways. So they have had their highest totals. They have had batters make the highest individual scores in the tournament. And as Javeria said, it's just about the experience. So playing more of matches like this will help them improve as well. They seem to have a good management going. Watching the team practice, there seems to be a lot of warmth in the side. They seem to enjoy themselves, and they play with a lot of respect for the game and the opposition.
I think that management part is critical because last year, after the poor showing in the World Cup, they changed their entire coaching staff, the managerial staff. They've got a foreign coach now. They have a specialist batting coach from Australia. And you can see a different culture in the team. And that is what happens when you bring somebody from the outside in. And hopefully they can find a midway between a culture that is coming in, a culture that already exists. And I think Pakistan are building very nicely towards that. What is also building nicely is Group A. Group B is decided. Australia and India are through to the semis. They will just decide who tops the group. But Group A is shaping up very nicely with that cracking win the West Indies had over South Africa. Now England plays South Africa tomorrow in what for the Proteas is a must-win encounter because England already have points on the board. South Africa have only won one game. West Indies have won two. So if South Africa don't win this, their chances of going ahead are severely affected.
South Africa don't do great under pressure.
Yeah.
So knowing that this is a knockout game, they do raise their game, but when it comes down to it, there are these silly mistakes. Their batting has been an issue. Yesterday again there was a collapse. So this is not the position they would like to have been in.
I think they don't know what the right batting order is yet. Marizan Cup moving up the order in this tournament is an experiment, but she hasn't had the tempo. She's got the class, but she hasn't found the tempo that maybe this situation has required. What I find interesting is the composition of the England squad. The last time they played with three left-arm spinners, but St. Lucia is a location which is favoring the swing bowlers, and England have in their ranks a left-arm swing bowler, and we know how effective those are. So I'm wondering if England will be tempted to play Tash Farrant in their 11, and I think that's the way to go in this situation, even though their left arm spinner who might miss out, Kirsty Gordon, picked up a career best haul on debut. I think they might go with an extra seamer following South Africa's example. The game after that will feature the West Indies and Sri Lanka. The Windies, if they pick up their third win, they can put one foot into the semi-finals, and that will be a great boost for the home region, for the home side. I think the fact that the Windies have had a couple of close games has pulled the region behind them and really got this entire support going behind them. More interest in the tournament. We see that in the crowds happening.
The team, though, would want to get a good batting performance in for once.
Yeah.
They've struggled in the power play. Even though they've packed the top order with big hitters, it would be really nice to see that work. Maybe not, I don't know how much the conditions will help that, but just for the sake of their fans, maybe a nice and easy game would be what they want.
So lots of cricket happening. India through to the semi-finals, which is huge news, which is big news. I mean, after the Women's World Cup, they have backed it up in the T20 format as well. And a cracking game tomorrow between South Africa and England lined up. Stay tuned to Women's Cricket Zone for all the updates, and we will be bringing you a recap of the tournament. Let us know what do you think about tomorrow's games. Who will come out on top in Group A, England or South Africa?